In 2018, photographer Mike Hipple published 80s Redux, Your Favorite Musicians Today. Well, 2 years later, Mike is back with the logical follow-up, Lived Through That, 90s Musicians Today.
Hey, Mike, it's great to see you.
Great to see you again, Nancy.
All right, so your previous book, it featured photos of musicians from the 1980s and was very much about what 80s music and culture meant to you. So what does 90s music and culture mean to you?
Well, in the 80s, I was kind of a teenager, still living at your parents' house, so you have that whole insular world, right? And then in the 90s, I was a young adult, like kind of feeling my way through the world, trying to figure out who I was and where I belonged and all that other stuff. But, you know, the 90s to me is about freedom and, you know, just the freedom of being a young adult, doing what you want to do. And music at the time was just this crazy, like, mix of everything. You know, there was like the Beastie Boys, they were like doing all this rap stuff, but also rock stuff. And like there was, and the alternative stuff that was just exploding. All the music that, you know, what I would have considered alternative in the 80s was suddenly like the mainstream. And it was just a real time of just kind of exploring and finding yourself.
Is there an artist that you were particularly excited about getting? I know you're excited about all of them, but is there one in particular that stands out?
There were a couple, yes. Tanya Donelly from Belly and the Breeders and during Muses. I have loved their music, all of her bands from since forever ago, right? I was really starstruck with Tanya Donelly. She is a fantastic human being, just super nice, down to earth. Everybody that participated in both this book and the 80s book, they were really, you know, they open up their doors to their homes and they're really open and warm and down to earth. I haven't seen any kind of diva attitudes or anything from anyone.
What's the strangest thing, or I don't know, maybe the most difficult thing that happened as you were trying to track down a subject?
I was going to London and I wanted to get a bunch of London artists together. I was curious about the Chumbawamba folks, right? So I was looking them up, and then it turns out the one guy, Dan Bird, lives up in Twist. Like this, you know, this British anarchist lives up in Twist. I'm like, oh my God, he's like right in the backyard. So it was really amazing to get up there, and the light up there to photograph is amazing.
Lots of great shots in the book. So would you go in with an idea of what you wanted, or was it more of a collaboration in the moment with the artists?
It was definitely more of a collaboration in the moment. Generally, they're just kind of on the fly. You're just looking around, trying to figure out what you're going to do and what the artist is going to feel comfortable. And every time, people are pretty open to doing whatever you want to do.
So how did you pull off the multiple mirror shot in the Dandy Warhols photo booth picture? That's cool.
Photoshop. And they were great too. Dandy Warhols, I mean, they come in and they just look like rock stars, right? They just have like a rock star attitude about them. And then you start talking to them and they're totally like awesome people.
So Scott McCaughey of the beloved Seattle band Young Fresh Fellows, well known here, as well as R.E.M -5. So the way I was going to describe the picture of him, an aging general on a balcony reviewing his psychedelic troops. So what is the story? Is there a story behind that photo?
I photographed Scott in winter of the pandemic. I couldn't go into his house, and I really wanted to photograph him with my old school, like 1930s speed graphics 4x5 camera. But to get the camera in that space, like you can't see, but I'm like in all of his shrubbery in his front yard. He was kind of on a hill, and I swear to God, I thought I was going to break the camera because I kept slipping.
What's so great about that story is that when someone sees a photo, we impose a lot of meaning on it, right? And it's almost, you can just make it whatever you want to make it as an audience member. Yuka Honda, those really fantastic hair flinging photos, was that just her whipping her neck around, or was there a fan involved, or what was going on?
No fan. I had her whipping her hair around. I have like 100 shots of that, but I wanted to get the hair in the right place, right? And I also wanted to make sure that we saw some of her face.
Well, congratulations on the book, Mike. It's really fun. It's great to see those artists current day, and it's great to talk to you.
Yes, thank you for having me, Nancy. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
Live Through That, 90s Musicians Today, published by Seattle-based Girl Friday Books, is available online and from your favorite indie bookstore. Catch Art Zone Friday nights at 8 and anytime online at seattle.gov/artzone.